The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
Americans are truly a driven culture. Now, although we only make up 5% of the world's population, we drive as many miles as everyone else combined. Today, Americans own twice as many cars and travel 3 times as many miles as we did 30 years ago. Now, if we don't put on the brakes and park, we may drive the planet right over the edge. Hi, I'm Corey James, and this is Today's Environment, where we focus on current solutions that may help repair and maintain the planet. Don't throw the baby out with the bath. That may be what we're doing with disposable diapers. Every 6 hours, Americans use enough of these to fill a barge a half block long. Here's a closer look.
Sheer genius. In 1961, disposable diapers appeared and parents the world over saluted this triumph of modern technology. Babies stayed drier, and the unpleasant chore of dealing with dirty diapers became a lot easier. But not everyone celebrated. Today, over 18 billion disposable diapers besiege our landfills every single year. The plastics and other materials are of very high quality and do not degrade in a sanitary landfill site. Landfill sites are designed to prevent leachate from entering our groundwater. However, the human waste is best accommodated in the sanitary sewer system. In raw materials, disposable diapers consume over 1.2 million metric tons of wood paper pulp and 75,000 metric tons of plastic every year. The great idea has become an environmental issue to many parents, but another stroke of genius may help improve a messy situation. This disposable diaper recycling plant, operated by No Waste Technologies, is the brainchild of a mother of 2 who put her mind to solving the dilemma between personal convenience and environmental catastrophe. The key lies in a proprietary separation technology and process that can isolate the paper, the plastics, and the human waste. All incoming diapers enter an enclosed system. The human waste gets washed out and the raw materials are separated into 3 different streams: fluff wood pulp, mixed plastic, and superabsorbents. All 3 reclaimed material streams find their way into new products. Households with infants, nursing homes, hospitals, daycare centers, and other diaper-intensive facilities subscribe to the DIDE service that brings fresh diapers and takes away the soiled ones. The advanced separation technology has also now been applied to recycling polycoat cartons, so commonly used for juice and milk containers. Currently, a pilot project isolates 2 material streams: wood pulp and co-mingled foil and plastic.
I founded the company in 1987 because I had 2 very small children who were in diapers, and I was aware of how much waste I was generating personally and felt that something could be done about that, and started investigating the whole disposable diaper issue and found that we could actually recycle these. The technology that was developed is well suited for many kinds of products, including milk cartons and juice boxes. So over the last 3 years, we've been expanding the system's technology and looking at a number of different products that we could recycle with this process.
Disposable diapers may help make the world of today's parents a little easier. But is that convenience jeopardizing the future for today's children? If innovative recycling technology can liberate the landfills from the onslaught of the diaper pail, we can hold down the waste while we're bringing up baby.
Your mailbox might just as well be a trash can. Americans get over 4 million tons of junk mail every year. Even if you don't read it, recycle it and get involved with today's environment today.
April showers used to bring May flowers, but all too often now precipitation reaches the earth in the form of acid rain, which can kill plants, fish, trees, and wildlife. We know what causes this problem. Now we have to prevent it. This may help.
Tape it, microwave it, fax it. Hit the power button and we've got conveniences the likes of which no previous generation ever imagined. And most of them require one thing: electricity. But our increasing demand for electrical power requires the use of natural resources. Depleting these natural resources and dealing with some of the harmful side effects from satisfying our craving for power stand out as challenges to preserve our environment and energy future. Since coal alone currently supplies over 56% of America's electrical demand, and as the United States has enough reserves to last about 300 years, coal-based utilities stand out as a primary opportunity for advanced technology. Government and industry have recently come together in a partnership that created the Clean Coal Technology Demonstration Program to cut air pollution while increasing the efficiency and lowering the cost of electric power production from coal. Developing ways to burn this economical fuel cleaner could help sustain both our electrical demands and our planet. The U.S. Department of Energy shares about 1/3 the cost of this $7 billion program, and it has already helped produce some significant advancements. This flue gas desulfurization unit can literally scrub the sulfur dioxide out of a power plant's exhaust fumes. Simply put, the unit washes the hot gases by channeling them through a limestone slurry. A chemical reaction captures the sulfur dioxide and neutralizes the liquid in a sealed tank. This removes nearly 95% of the sulfurous compounds and can help a coal-fired utility to exceed increasingly stringent clean air regulations, the toughest in the world. Another technology called pressurized fluidized bed combustion may sound like a mouthful, but it's really good news for the environment. In the combustor, pulverized limestone and coal particles are combined and suspended in air like a fluid. The dolomite, a common mineral used in construction and farming, absorbs about 90% of the sulfur released from the coal before it becomes part of the exhaust gas. This process also consumes 10% less fuel, which reduces carbon dioxide emissions by that amount. The Clean Coal Technology Demonstration Program also pioneers projects to explore other cleaner technologies, like coal gasification.
By answering the challenge to use clean coal strategies, Americans are signing a declaration of energy independence for today and tomorrow.
Creating clean, efficient, and affordable power stands as a major hurdle for a sustainable society. But if we can properly develop our technology, the energy in this fossil may help fuel a brighter future. In a moment, on Today's Environment, a unique two-stroke engine that will impact smog levels, and computer-assisted groundwater analysis helps pinpoint problems. Next.
The clock's ticking. Developing new technologies to completely replace our current ones takes time. While we wait, however, sometimes a small change in our existing technology can produce big improvements. And this just might be one of them.
There's a killer on the loose. Nowhere is safe. This is the weapon. And this is what's deadly. Exhaust from the combustion engine creates smog which may account for over 100,000 premature deaths each year. Now, governments across the globe are just saying no more smog. In California, ultra-low emission vehicle standards will take effect in 1997. Taiwan will enforce its tough emission legislation starting in 1998. And automakers around the world are scrambling to create vehicles that will conform to regulations. This two-stroke engine, designed by the Orbital Engine Company of Australia, may help them beat their deadline. It runs on unleaded gasoline, so enormous capital and time will not be required to create the infrastructure necessary for consumer acceptance, as in the case of electric and alternative fuel vehicles. Four-stroke engines have a separate stage for induction, compression, ignition, and exhaust. This two-stroke engine combines those into two stages. The technology incorporates advanced combustion principles and simple logic, such as injecting fuel with the exhaust ports closed, in order to create a more fuel-efficient ultra-low emission engine. An injector sprays a finely atomized mist of fuel directly into the combustion chamber, and the spark ignites it. An innovative electronic control unit allows accurate control of the spark timing and fuel injection to allow a more thorough burning of the fuel. The stratified charge of gasoline, combined combined with the combustion chamber's geometry, allows a leaner mixture to retain power. By using less fuel to overcome friction and burning it more efficiently, emissions from the engine fall dramatically when compared to an equally powerful four-stroke engine. The level of the NOx emissions drops so drastically from the improved combustion that it normally conforms to the most rigid regulations for NOx without a complex and expensive three-way catalytic converter. And since less fuel is consumed, less carbon dioxide gets released, while the remaining greenhouse gases, hydrocarbons, and carbon monoxide can be reduced with a simplified, cheaper catalytic converter. This advanced two-stroke engine technology may also help makers of marine motors conform to new EPA standards. Orbital data shows that it can cut emissions from motorbikes up to 80% and improve their fuel economy by up to 60%. And on America's highways, this lighter, more efficient engine design may soon help fight the tyranny of our tailpipes.
One of the advantages of Orbital's technology is that it allows automotive, marine and motorcycle manufacturers the opportunity of incorporating these engines into their products with only minor modifications to their existing infrastructure.
In a world driven by combustion, a technology that lets us burn cleaner may help take us off the road to ruin and put the environment back on Easy Street.
A well-tuned car uses nearly 10% less gas. That translates to 10% less emissions from that one source. So schedule a tune-up and get involved with today's environment today.
Have you ever gotten an email or logged on to a computer bulletin board? Well, every day system networking becomes more and more common. And now some users are using this information superhighway to put the environment back on the road to recovery. Here's an example.
An old adage says that the secret to success is not simply working hard, it's working smart. And success has never been more critical than in efforts to decontaminate our precious groundwater. Over half of the irrigation and drinking water in the United States comes from underground aquifers. That's about 70 billion gallons a day, or about the same amount of water needed to cover a football field 30 miles deep every day. But when chemicals get spilled or leaked into the soil, it's usually not long before they leach into the groundwater and contaminate it.
How big a problem is this? Huge. The price tag to clean up the polluted groundwater in the United States hovers at around the amount of the federal budget, an estimated $1 trillion.
Today's progressive scientists and engineers are grappling with the challenge to find new and better ways to remediate contaminated aquifers. Even if their efforts only produce an improvement of 10%, that translates to a savings of around $100 billion. Site characterization of a contaminated area requires enormous amounts of sampling, analysis, extrapolation, and educated guesswork. Since we cannot see underground, often the success and ultimate cost of a cleanup operation depends on the accuracy of the characterization process. The computer stands out as a major piece of equipment that could offer huge savings in efficiency and effectiveness. This scientist, working at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories, designed software specifically to aid in environmental restoration. Advanced software that can integrate 3D graphics with the enormous database created from site samples and other data can give analysts a better visual idea of what's happening below. Additional simulation software can enable remediation designers to exhaustively test countless possible options for field operations, phased additions, and compliance monitoring. Advanced scientific computing can produce a more thorough, logical analysis of a problem before the most costly physical work actually starts. This can save valuable time and money and help produce more effective results in the end. Simply put, it can help people work smarter.
Scientists at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories have been able to apply much of the computing technology developed for military applications to the environmental restoration arena.
And now, by making their data available on the worldwide internet, this software can help foster environmental improvement anywhere on the globe. They too can browse the internet themselves and access applications that may help improve one of their programs or processes. Developing advanced technology has always been the purpose of a national laboratory, but sharing it with the world makes it clear that the new mission has grown beyond national defense and on to planetary preservation. robotic technology tackles nuclear waste and enforcing environmental regulations on Native American lands. Coming up next on Today's Environment.
In the Stone Age, this rock may have been about the best tool you could buy. Human evolution has been marked by the tools we use, and today they might also help define how we have or have not evolved. This next segment takes a closer look.
Atomic energy. It ended a war between countries, but started one with the Earth. The materials used to harness the power of an atom often devastate the air, soil, and water. In the wake of the Cold War, the world now faces the challenge of cleaning up an Earth scarred and contaminated from nuclear weapons production. And as this new era dawns, the growth of peaceful applications for nuclear power requires an enormous effort to ensure environmental stewardship. The lessons of the past have taught us the hard way that no sustainable economy can sacrifice the Earth for short-term profits. And in order to bring sustainable balance between environmental protection and industrial production, we must first tip the scale towards the planet to clean up historical blunders. But the tools to deal with radioactive waste are not something you can simply pick up at your neighborhood builder's outlet. We must look to technology to devise equipment like this robotic inspection and repair system from AEA Technology. Like Q, the inventor in the James Bond novels, researchers must develop the weapons to fight the war on radioactive contamination. Handling, treatment, storage, and destruction of nuclear and hazardous wastes must all be addressed, and solutions must be found. The tools at our disposal go beyond robot arms and high-tech laboratories. Data handling, site characterization, and other computer-assisted design processes help us mentally plan properly before we do anything physically. Consultants from AEA Technology often advise stakeholders in developing nations with ideas and processes that incorporate new technology, integrated with the lessons learned from the past mistakes of developed nations. As a society, we must all decide where the new balance lies. How many resources must we expend to sustain our Earth, and how many should we use to sustain our growth? Designing new processes and procedures with sustainability in mind could make striking that balance an easier task, and developing an effective toolbox of decontamination technology to heal our environment and keep it healthy looms as a major challenge. Harnessing the atom can unlock many opportunities for the present and future generations. That energy could have an important place in a sustainable society. If we can develop and master the tools and processes that prevent nuclear energy and its byproducts from affecting nature, then we might be able to improve our standard of living and uphold our environmental standards.
Rules are made to be broken. Well, not always. But complicated federal regulations can be so convoluted that it's often unclear when a rule is being obeyed or not. This next idea may help enforcement agencies get a little less talk and a lot more action.
This land is my land. This land is your land. So goes a popular song. And if you're a citizen of the United States, it's very true. The American people own over 600 million acres of mineral-rich public land. Our government leases much of this land so that the oil and gas can be extracted. The companies then pay a royalty for everything sold from their operation on that land. Royalties from about 23,000 oil and gas leases can amount to over $500 million per year.
The Department of the Interior is charged with the mission of protecting our financial and environmental stake in these lands. Now, to handle this task, they established the Bureau of Land Management to inspect and enforce guidelines governing leases on federal and Native American lands.
These inspectors verify the quantities of oil and gas extracted and sold, and then they inspect each operation to make sure that safety and environmental regulations are being obeyed. If not, blowouts, spills, and other ecological tragedies could occur.
Recently, President Clinton challenged all public agencies with the task of reducing and simplifying paperwork and redundant regulations. Now, in response, the Bureau of Land Management developed the Bureau Performance Review. Now, hopefully, this will result in fewer but more effective guidelines.
Improving the environmental performance and accountability of companies leasing public lands stands out as a top priority of this process. Because when the lease expires, the land should be returned to the American people in the same condition as before it was disturbed. Industry, environmental groups, and the Bureau Performance Review Team members are now working to reach a consensus in establishing more effective controls. Striking a proper balance between sound development of the oil and gas resources and improved stewardship of the land requires cooperation and compromise. Development of our domestic oil and gas reserves can help reduce American reliance on unstable foreign imports. This also generates revenue for the American public, and reduced regulatory rhetoric can result in increased tax savings. But developing oil and gas reserves cannot come at the expense of our precious land and wildlife resources.
We monitor lease operations for compliance to ensure protection of all resources, including soil, water, air, cultural resources, wildlife, and minerals. Simplified regulations giving us clear authority and decisive action steps will go a long way to making sure that America the Beautiful stays that way.
Properly plugging abandoned wells, recontouring the land, replanting and reseeding disturbed areas can often restore the land to nearly its original condition. If simplified regulations can help us take advantage of our underground natural resources without exploiting the land and wildlife on the surface, well, then we might reduce today's deficit and start building towards a more balanced future.
The rain in Spain and the rest of Europe is causing a lot of problems. Acid rain will cost that continent 155 million cubic yards of wood, or $30 billion every year for the next century. 1,800 lakes in Sweden are almost completely lifeless. We all share a great planet, but it needs everyone's help. The ideas we examine today are part of the solution, and we hope you will be too. Join us again next time as we explore more environmental solutions on Today's Environment.
The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care. This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA.